You know, maybe I should just keep that song playing the entire time. I hate to stomp on the lyrics, though, with my ramblings, but hello, my name's John Corelli. I'm your average guy with his average guy opinion. Like I said on my last episode, I'm going to try to get more into these. Then, of course, I promptly took a few days off. This one's a sad one. For those of you who don't know, Andy Fletcher, who's the keyboardist in the quintessential synth-pop band Depeche Mode, died last week on May 26th. And, you know, it was a bummer, you know, I'm going to darken this a little bit, but I just thought it was really appropriate to play Enjoy the Silence because, you know, that's what we got now, unfortunately. I mean, of course, the band was, he was 60 years old. All of the members are around 60. Let's be honest, their best days are behind them. I don't think they're going to make some incredible music in the 2020s when their best music was in the 80s and 90s. But it's still kind of a bummer, you know. He wasn't exactly old. It's undisclosed as to how he died. My hair is crazy. Good Lord. But maybe that's a good homage to Depeche Mode because they had crazy hair too. I really, really enjoyed that band when I was probably graduating high school. I was a little late on the Depeche Mode train, didn't really get into them until about 85 or 86. Their first album came out in 81. The big song I first heard of theirs was People Are People. Many of you, like I say, who are my age know that unless you were under a rock somewhere. You know, I just really got into them with Some Great Reward, catching up with Depeche Mode, Music for the Masses, and then, of course, Violator, which came out in early 1990, and is still one of my favorite dance albums of all time. This is really, it was a big deal for me because I came of age personality-wise and confidence-wise in the late 80s. I was a late bloomer, graduated in 1985, didn't really find my sexual value until nearly 1990, and dancing at places like Thirsties and Rock Island, and geez, when I'd go up to visit my friends GT up in Greeley, there was a place called GT's. There was Fort Ram and Fort Collins. What was the other big one? The Armory in Greeley, and of course all those other places down in Denver, the ones that I mentioned. There was also the Deadbeat Club, and oh gosh, we'd even go to dance at Panama Reds to some of these stuff like that. A lot of these places would have a goth night, and they'd always have Depeche Mode. I remember one time my mom and I were doing this. This is right around probably 1988, 89. I was like 22 years old, and me and my mom would exchange probably tapes back then, maybe CDs, but probably tapes. And I would listen to like some of the older stuff like she had hanging around, like Frank Sinatra or something, and she would listen to, I remember one time she listened to Depeche Mode, particularly, I'm pretty sure it was Music for the Masses that I loaned to her. And the opening song is I'm Taking a Ride with My Best Friend, and it's very homoerotic, which is something that Depeche Mode helped popularize, that those are okay feelings to have. And especially nowadays when a lot of kids are coming out as queer, trans, whatever. It's really kind of cool that there was something that maybe woke their parents up to say, that's not such a bad thing. Be who you are as long as you're not hurting anybody. All right, enjoy. be whatever you want to be. But the music, I just have so many good memories of that music. Like I said, dancing at all those clubs. I would often be the first on the dance floor in 1988, 1989 through 93 on Sunday nights at Rock Island. And I met women because of bands like Depeche Mode. I had confidence that I could go out and dance, and I start talking to women and finally start getting laid. But it was really a great time for me to be alive. And like I was saying earlier, I would go drive up to Greeley. My two best friends, Troy Hunt and Chris Miles, were up at Greeley UNC, University of Northern Colorado, or as we like to say, UNC, University of No Credit, because a lot of the guys up there were just barely skating through. Both of my friends barely made it. Troy and Chris barely got through, but they made it. They got their pieces of paper. But man, was at a party school in the 80s. I would go up there probably 1986 through 1990 or so, and just go party with those guys. And I would listen. And I remember specifically, I had Catching Up with Depeche Mode on tape in my Dodge Colt. Drove up there and would just listen to that. Songs like New Life, Blasphemous Rumors, great music for a 1-hour drive up there. It was great. And so it made me a little sad. I actually got to see them also. It made me sad when I found out Andy Fletcher died. I also saw Depeche Mode in concert at Red Rocks in 1990, right after Violator came out. I think the summer Violator came out, I want to say like real early in 1990. Like I think it was even a little late. They were hoping to get out in 89. I believe it came out in January of 1990. And just to me is their Magnus Opus, so to speak, an amazing album. Every song on it is solid, very extremely danceable. Like I said, the best synth pop ever made, in my opinion. But I was getting to seeing them at Red Rocks, and that was really great, with a band called Nights Are Ebb, and I hope some of you can remember them. Really like industrial, hard, synthesized music. More like almost slam dance music, but it was just so much fun dancing to that music back downtown Denver before it was even called Lodo. It was called Lower Downtown, but nobody was there. There was no Coors Field. There were no lights. It was just dark, a little scary, but a lot of fun to go to the bars down there and do stuff and dance and screw around and maybe sit on those old bridges that are still there right off of Spear and Wawata. I love that they left those, by the way, and I'm going a little off topic, but it's hard to, even as much as I love Depeche Mode, it's still hard to talk about Depeche Mode for 10 minutes. But yeah, we'd go and maybe get some Mad Dog 2020 or something else, some Boone's Farm Wine, some cheap alcohol before we hit the club, because you don't want to spend too much money on club drinks. So a lot of us would go just hang our feet off of that metal bridge that goes over the Platte. I think it's the Platte or it's Cherry Creek, whatever. It's right before Confluence Park, right, like I said, right off of Spear and Wawata. And I love that despite that it's all built up around there and that there's all kinds of condos and stuff now and a lot of new construction, they left those old rickety looking steel bridges there and would still have the spray paint on them. It's beautiful. I love that. It reminds me of that time, the late 80s, going down there and having a lot of fun. There was a couple other things about Depeche Mode. I think I had something and I lost it. Shoot. Met the first girl I ever had sex with. Depeche Mode kind of opened some, how do I want to put it, conversational doors to the girl, the very first girl I ever, made love with, if you want to call it that, in 1990. And she was super into Depeche Mode. And I remember we danced to A Question of Time over at Rock Island, and that's how we kind of met. We met at Rock Island. We danced together. We went to Denny's afterwards, and Troy was there, and he played wingman, and her roommate Kim was there, and Troy was not into Kim at all, but he helped me out. And it was one of those rare times. Troy is like, Troy's the better me, and I don't hate myself or anything, but Troy's taller. He's better looking. I don't know if he's smarter or not. I do okay, but he's a really smart dude, and he's done very well in this life. But if Troy and I were together, he looks like Sting. So it's like, if you're a girl, you're going to go for this, or you're going to go for Sting? You're going to go for Sting. So most of the time, Troy and I would go out. I would just resign myself to the fact that, well, Troy's going to get the good-looking girl, and I'll get the other girl, and hopefully that works out. This is one of those rare times. Donna was by far the better-looking girl. Also, not a psycho. Kim was kind of crazy. So, and I may make this a two-parter, because this actually leads into something interesting. It was a very short relationship I had with Donna, but that's how we met, was by dancing to some Depeche Mode songs at Rock Island, and then going to Denny's afterwards, and connecting that way, and then having a short relationship, but my first one that involved sex, so that was great. Yeah, I'm closing in on 10 minutes, so maybe I'll make this a two-parter and tell you some interesting things about Donna and Kim and Troy. All right, thanks you guys. Talk to you next time. Bye.